Do 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 do.
Greetings fandom, my name is Andre, and for this video I'm going to discuss to you about something that hasn't really been mentioned the mainstream media for quite some time. And I don't know with you guys, but this is something that personally um, concerns me. And through this video I want to hear out your thoughts on this one. Okay? And I know that there are many of those films and television shows that have been given some sort of rating by a certain country's classification board that gives them some sort of rating depending on which kind of audience it happens to be appropriate for. And it is very, very nice and fitting that they happen to do this. And but what about video games? I mean, I know that video games themselves also have a rating classification system. The two most very known ones are ESRB and PEGI. ESRB.org, PEGI.info. Okay? I'm going to send you the link down in the description below. You can feel free to click on that one. Okay? And what I personally think of these ones is that they do seem very nice, and it gives you some sort of background on what game it's going to be like. Well, you know, unlike TV shows and movies, like the outcome, like the things that you see there are like just very very gradual. But when it comes to like these video games, the thing is that the progress of how the game goes, the flow or the speed of the game depends on how you interact with it, and it entirely and it entirely depends on like the things that you do that makes it appropriate or inappropriate to some form of audience. Okay, and I think I think that's one of the few things that make the rating system like very faulty. Okay, there's that. Okay, like what if like there's like, take Roblox for example. Okay, Roblox is a game that's specifically for children, and 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 now, because of the very huge influence of the said game, now adults are holding on to this game as well. And that um and that there are those adults that are intending to use the game in order to catfish some children into leading that there's some sort of person, that there's some sort of a friend of theirs that are of the same age as them. But it turns out it's just going to be a trap. And this really applies to a lot of children's games. Like like there are many of those YouTube videos that are known for just specifically for children that have been considered a gateway for some P word. Yeah, you know what the P word is. Just fill it in for the P word to try to to try to feast on the children that's being shown on these videos. I know I'm talking about something very disgusting, but I have to call this out, okay? Like I'm not focusing on like those videos. I'm focusing on like the games, okay? Like that's one of the things over there. And ESRB and PEGI have very very good categories on how they rate their games, but I just think it really seriously needs to be updated. I mean, when was the last time they did that? Okay, and well, there's that. One of the things that I mentioned is the fact that like there are some scenes that there's some scenes that some people could make in those games that could make it inappropriate to some children, even though it's a children's game, even though the game is rated E by the SRB or rated 7 plus by PEGI. And another thing that I've wanted to mention is the process of purchasing these games. Like, let's say you're a minor and you wanted to buy you're say let's say you're a child, you're a minor, and that you wanted to buy these very cool games that your older brother is playing, and then your older brother is like playing these very obscene games. Take for example Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, and some of those other rated M games that I don't really like to mention. But that being the point, like, what if like there are actually some of those game stores, like based on my own experience, there are actually some of those game stores that tend to ignore the ESRB rating that's placed inside the box of the game. Like they don't fucking care who buys it, and then they're just going like what if it may seem like a very awkward question, but I think this is something that those stores need to do. Like what if you're the one buying it, and then it turns out that it's actually you buying it for your older brother, because perhaps it's your older brother's birthday, and then you're looking for that rated M game as a gift. That's understandable, okay? So what if there are those uh sales ladies or sales personnel that will go to approach this child who is purchasing this rated M game, and then what if they could just go like, who's going to play this game? Is it you? Because if it's you, you should not be the one. I should let you know that like you're in a very inappropriate age to be playing these sorts of games. That's why these ratings exist, to know which scenes are just the right are just the very right scenes for them, or what's appropriate for them. Okay, there's that, the accessibility of the people to just buy these games. And regarding like the very awkward question, I just thought of another way to resolve that one. Like, what if they those sales personnel that are on that game store will be asking that child for an ID, an identity document card that will that has the date of birth inscribed on that card. Like they have to show that, and if they and if the personnel finds out that they are not old enough to play the sort of game, maybe they have the right to like refuse, or to like refuse the selling of that child. But then again, once they do that, that's a decrease in their sales. Like they're not going to be able to sell very much, assuming, I mean, no, not just assuming. It's been proven time and time again that it's really the children who are visiting these game stores, and then having to like purchase these sorts of games, and then it turns out that like they're inappropriate. They're at an inappropriate age to play these kinds of games, and then they're going to expose themselves to all the gore, all the violence, all the sex, and then their minds have been ruined and scarred forever. Uh, that's a scenery that I don't wish would happen anytime soon. And lastly, the third thing that I want to mention when it comes to these game rating systems, okay? I know that there are a lot of those gamers and content creators going around on the internet that are showcasing their skills and talent in forms of live streams. Like they stream themselves live, and then they show themselves playing these sorts of games, and then it's going and then it's either via Facebook gaming or Twitch that they do these sorts of stuff. And what really bothers me quite a lot of times is that I'll say it again. I've said it earlier, and I'll say it again. The internet is a very accessible place. Like, all you need to do is like have some sort of device, and you can just access to the internet, and you can access to all of those stuff that are going on in the internet, even the ones that nobody should see will be seen. All right, that's the one that I'm most afraid about. And there happens to be quite a certain number of these quote unquote streamers and content creators that play these games, that play these very obscure wait no these very obscene and very inappropriate games, and then they stream it publicly for anyone to see. That's right, even the children that are there on social media. And here's the thing: I know there are some of those social media sites that have an age requirement, such as Facebook, and then you have to be at some certain age in order to be able to start using them. But the thing is, they can lie their age. Like, oh, let's say you're 11 years old, you want to use Facebook, but you have to be at least 13 years old to use Facebook. And so you fake your age at around 19, 17, and then Facebook recognizes you as around 104 years old, which is completely not true because you'd be fucking dead by the time. And it turns out that, like, oh, yeah, so this is what Facebook is like. This is what Facebook is like. And then a few more days, like, it just turns out to be really innocent, and it turns out it's not the way you think it is at all. Because there are some of those scenes that are seen on Facebook that are not for the faint of heart, especially the news that have been going on, the ones that involve crime, violence, and all that other stuff. That's why they keep this for teenagers, 13 years old and above. Okay, to say the least, Facebook is definitely not for children, and it's been and there are many of these content creators that can that can stream these mature content, and then there are those children that can just click on that notification if they follow those streamers, and then they can just watch all the gory stuff that's happening. However, there have been quite a few improvements when it comes to that rule, okay? Because there are already some streamers on Facebook Gaming that have given some sort of warning, and then they would just go like, warning, this game is not for children. Like, they put that on the notification settings, like let's see here, insert the name of the gamer, and then is live now, and then they put the caption there: this game is not for kids. If you're a child, do not watch it. Okay, there's that. And I know there are those children who pretend to be adults, and then they can just fuck it, just click through that video, and then they get exposed to all the violence. All I can say is, like, you have been warned. You have been warned, and you neglected that warning. So that's on you. And another way of how streamers tend to avoid this is by making those kinds of games only available at midnight, because it's assumed that the children are already asleep during that time, which most of the time works. And mostly during the time, the only ones that are watching those streams are the adults, which are quite few, but very much necessary. And so, yeah, that's all I had to say for now, and I would like to ask what you think about the video game rating system. Is it good as is? Does it need to be updated now? Just please let me know down in the comments below. I will respond to you, and I will be very glad to take your opinion.